Is that seawater? Look at this, dude. This is the most disgusting car I've ever touched. What up, everybody? Today, I'm gonna be working on installing the handbrake and the shifter. And I'm gonna take you guys along every step of the way so you can see just how much effort it takes to do something silly like mounting a shifter and mounting a handbrake. Especially because the chassis is aluminum. I can't just weld to it. I can't just weld a nut. Can't just weld a plate. It's a thing. So, I got it figured out. It's gonna be a similar strategy to the pedals. Right? There was a steel threaded insert inside this aluminum, welded the aluminum to the aluminum chassis. Something similar, but not quite the exact same thread certs, because this doesn't necessarily need to be as gnarly, right? Those ones are serious, it's pedals. The handbrake and the shifter, less gnarly. So, still a steel threaded insert, but this, instead of locking with little pins, it just locks with Loctite. So, you drill it, you tap it. I'll be drilling this, tapping it, then you put it on the fancy install tool here, thread it in, because you see the install tool has cool little teeth, boom, and then you thread it right into there. And it's just retained with just red Loctite, so super simple. The game plan here, I know where these go. I have everything kind of marked out where it needs to be. I'm happy with it. I'm gonna draw exactly where I want to cut the chassis. I got this piece of material. This piece of material is going to be dropped in and welded to the chassis. But it does need to hang off a little bit because the handbrake needs to hang off the side of the tunnel just like this. So the plate is gonna be welded all the way around right here. Come off the tunnel just enough to pick this up and have all the thread certs in there. So I think what I'll probably end up doing first is getting the piece fit into the car. I think that's first. Get it all square, make sure I know where it's gonna be, and then I'll drop the thread certs exactly where I want this to be. So, mark and get cutting. That's all you can do. Let's get to it. So this is the lines of the actual shifter where it's going to sit. I'm gonna go ahead and mark the side of the tunnel so that when I actually get this thing all ground, I remember exactly where it goes. And then I'll do the same with the handbrake. And of course, once the plate's on, I'm gonna have to sit in the car, fully figure out exactly where it goes again. So the shifter, it's cool. It just lines up right with that factory riv nut. Just so happens that that worked out to be the perfect place. There, and there's the back of the handbrake. Cool. So now I just need to figure out where I want the plate to go. I have this marked. That was a rough mark of like the front edge of the plate. And I figure we can figure out right now the back edge of the plate. So here's where, this is where the handbrake goes. So we want space for the hardware, because that's where the handbrake hardware would end up being, kind of halfway on, halfway off right there. And remember, we need room for a weld, right? Because it's gonna be a weld joint. So probably back right there, just to be safe. Yeah, cool. Now I'm gonna measure down so that I can figure out the depth, because I want this thickness cut down and then straight across. Okay, time to cut. I have it marked up, all four corners or all four sides. Let's get cutting. Okay, got the cut done. However, the perimeter is cut, but there is an inner rib. Basically, there's like a corrugated piece, or sorry, an extruded piece that wraps around the tunnel and forms a rib in the corner down here. So it means we're gonna have to go to the bottom, chop it, and then probably trim it to fit once we lay the plate in there. So we'll lift her up and go down below. Two of them stuck through. I'm probably gonna connect these and then go to the top and see what actually got removed and probably cut some more. Hopefully I can cut it from the top. That might be a little bit easier than getting my grinder down here. Yeah, I could definitely cut it straight, but trying to get in sideways and open it up to the full width, gonna be hard. So I'm just gonna connect these two lines and check it out. check back up top. I think it might be easier to cut down and open it up and see. Don't know. Kind of sucks cutting down in there. Hey now. All right, and now we can actually get in there and see what's what. Well, yeah, you can see these corners here. That is a big part of it. Thick boy. I'm not sure how it's connected, if it's two-piece or yeah. There, now we can see where we're gonna have to cut. That'll be a lot easier to cut from the top than the bottom. So, gotta do the same for this side. Cut it, remove it, cut it again. Then we'll be able to drop our plate in. Now we gotta go to the bottom because I need to be able to complete this cut. Lift it back up. So what I was just doing is making sure that the inner lip here is low enough that the plate will sit flat. And you can see we nailed it. Plate's nice and flat, and we'll still be able to weld in those corners at the bottom. So the plan, and you can see that is gonna fit right up in there very nicely. The plan is that we'll be able to weld it around the perimeter, but then also weld it on the bottom on the inside there, which is probably gonna suck, but I'm gonna try my best. Perfectly snug. Look at that. Just gotta clean it up with the grinder a little bit, and then it'll slide right in place. So look at that. And it's flat, totally flat. Sick. I got it to fit pretty good. Just trimmed the car a little bit with the grinder. Now it literally like fits right in. It's nice and flush. When this is flush against the car, this corner does protrude up a little bit. So I think I'll bevel this corner right here, and that'll give me like a nice place that it'll line up to. Ah, not bad. Sick. Okay, next step is going to be the handbrake. Placing it and figuring out where it's gonna go, and then trimming this edge of the plate. Mod 69, best steering wheel ever made. Same wheel as the race car, demo car, C5, everything. But yeah, I'm gonna line of sight that steering column, get this centered up, and see my distance between the steering wheel and the handbrake here, because I want to make sure that when you're steering and you're grabbing and you're shifting and you're handbraking and all that stuff is all good. So I want to figure out how much room I need between the steering wheel, and I can eyeball it right to the center of the brake pedal there. Yeah, that's better. Okay, I got the position of the handbrake, basically where I want it. It's not exact because I'm still gonna fit everything up, but I'm gonna mark the plate and start figuring out where to trim the fat. I think what I'll probably end up doing is drilling it and putting all these inserts in first before I weld it in. I think I just gotta be sure I get it in the exact right place, move all this stuff around to where it feels perfect, mark it, and then do it, because I think it'll be easier to do it like on the drill press to keep everything nice and straight. pretty good clearance to the seat. And actually, because the seat has movement side to side, I can move it. And even with it all the way over that way, still clears just right. Clean up this edge, and then I will end up mounting the handbrake, putting it back in the car, and then figuring exactly where the shifter needs to go. All right, time to drill and tap. So this calls for, even though that's a M8 125, it needs 7/16 14 for the outside there. So I have my 7/16 14 tap right here. You go to your drill bit index here, 7/16 14 drill bit U, 0.368 right there. Pilot hole done. All right, time to tap. All right, started it with the drill press. Now it's guaranteed to be nice and freaking straight, and I'll just finish it off by hand because we're almost all the way through. I was getting tired jerking that thing, but super good way to get that thing started extremely straight. You know how hard it is. You need like 2 people to look and figure out which way it's tilting or not, but started with the drill press just by hand, and then now I can finish off with this. Easy. Got to clean out the hole because there was cutting fluid in there, and we got to make sure, because this has Loctite on it, it needs to be super clean. That was being a pain in the ass to get excited, so I'm back to the drill press install method. Let's see if we can do this way. There we go. That's a freaking insert right there. Hell yeah. Took a lot longer than I thought, but all of the thread certs are in. They are all nice and flush. So now we can bolt the handbrake on and go set this in the car. Them little suckers are a lot of work, but it's worth it. Okay, I've sat here long enough. I had it all laid out, moved around, did the same thing I've been doing, moved it a little bit. You can see the difference right there to there, but I've decided where it's going. So now it is time. Shifter is positioned. I marked it out where I want it. I ended up moving it that far forward, like a ½ inch from where I just kind of initially said this is going to be good. A little bit different punch strategy with this. I'm going to go with one of these, the set of punches that all fit in different size holes. So this is meant for an 8mm and a hammer punch. I'll probably do one, make sure this thing's totally square, and then do the other ones. All right, so the insert broke, similar to this, but on that one, all of the install parts went off. So I'm gonna do it with a nut and a bolt. It'll work just fine. So I thread the bolt, see the insert is broken off there. Thread the bolt in. I'll tighten it down to this. Thread this in. All right, place the shifter and see what's going on here? Cool, square it up, punch the other 2 holes, drill, insert. That took a lot longer than I thought, a lot longer. But I want to put it together to see how it actually works. Wow, look at that freaking thing. Gotta weld it in and it's done. That's it. Easy peasy. Wow. That feels freaking sick. It is time to clean the paint off of the chassis and get ready for welding. So, got my wire wheel, one of my favorite things. I'm gonna wire wheel all the way around and then do the final like sanding and finish work on the actual plate. Drag the welder over here and get welding. So, time to get it as clean as possible. Okay, it is all cleaned up all the way around, the inside and the outside. So I did my best to clean it. Had to put a couple little notches here for the nut certs that sit down. Now you can see the plan is I'm gonna bevel this edge nice and deep so that I can get a weld in there, so it won't just be sitting on top. And then same thing with this lower here. I'll put a slight bevel so that there's a place to weld. That's the bevel that I'm working with to weld in there. Yeah, I think it's good. We got some clamps, got some straight edges, and this corner is freaking perfect. So I'm gonna tack that corner first, and then Alec has a couple of flathead screwdrivers to move it up, and we'll level it against this piece of box tube so it's completely level against the trans tunnel, and tack it, see where we're at. Let's check this out. So that's gonna suck a little bit. I probably just got a little wild with the grinder, but the rest of this, like, it's perfect. Okay, here we go. Yeah. I even welded up underneath. That was very hard. The welds aren't very good, but it's sealed. Heck yeah. Now time to grind the welds and try to make it look like it doesn't even exist. And shame. Kind of a shame to be grinding those down, but I think it'll look best overall. It's gonna be a lot of grinding and then some more DA work afterwards, so I'm gonna get to it. Got a straight metal worked in handbrake and shifter plate. You can't even feel the seam. Wow. Hell yeah, okay, well, we're pretty much there. That took a lot longer than I thought. Oh, I still maybe need a weld from the bottom side. Should probably jack it up or lift it up and see what it looks like down there. Potentially stitch the lower portion. We'll check it out. All right. Yeah, so these edges here is what I was talking about. Do I want to weld or do I want to just seal it in? I've decided we're just gonna seam seal down there. It doesn't really have anything to do with the amount of strength into anything, in my opinion. Everything is so tight and this is welded in so good, and welding up underneath there would honestly be kind of a pain. So gonna seam seal that later on, like before the car goes to paint. And obviously I need a seam seal like under here. I have the chassis just divoted out and I couldn't weld on the bottom of there because I welded on the bottom of this seam here too. So I gotta seam seal some stuff just to keep it sealed up, but yeah, let's install this. This has been one hell of a freaking process. It's finally done. It's finally done. Oh wow, it's finally done. Holy moly. Yeah, that is pretty damn cool. That is everything I hoped it would be. Okay, that's the end of this project. I literally filmed every step of the way pretty much, let alone like maybe sharpening a tungsten or something silly when I'm having to brush something out. But even then, it was on the time lapse. That was a lot of hours, realistically. It's been spread out across a couple of days because I just have so many things to do that I'm not able to dedicate an entire day to working on this thing, which is why it's taken me probably 2 full days of worth of work spread out amongst like 5 days. Ridiculous, but I'm very happy with it. The ergonomics of this entire car are coming together perfectly. It's so comfortable, and it's pretty much identical to the C6 race car. Between the pedal position to the center line of the handbrake, the height of it compared to the seat, the shifter location, the setback of the shifter to here, all of it is measured out to what I'm already used to. So that's, we have a recipe, and I enjoy how it feels. The ergonomics in the C6 are perfect, and I think this is gonna be just as good. Onward to the next project. Hell yeah, thank you guys.